It is Sunday, October 4th, the first Sunday of the month, and we're going to kick it off in the right way with a lot of fun and a lot of great conversation. Thanks for joining us. It's time for the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. And now, two men who need no introduction. Ken and Glenn.
Yeah, that was better. That was better than I thought. I thought you were going to say, who need no introduction, but I'm going to give them one anyway.
Yeah.
But I think what you opted to do is funny.
Ken, I've been thinking about that. I was just counting. How long is it going to, how many beats before Ken hits the button?
I'm like, what do I do?
Has Scott had a cerebral hemorrhage in the middle of the show? What's going on?
Cerebral hemorrhoid, basically.
Oh no, he's frozen. Bad timing. We have all our regulars. Rachel Platt is in the house. Oh my God. There's Rachel. Scott Ricard.
By the way, Glenn, I don't know if you saw the intro to Saturday Night Live last night, but
yes, I did.
Alec Baldwin did that, when Jim Carrey hit the pause button.
Yes, and Jim Carrey was playing Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very funny.
I thought of you instantly about.
clearly, I'm tired of being left out of the Glasses members only club.
There we go. Yes.
So I thought I'd join in tonight. These are my readers.
And I love the 24 hat.
Yeah, well, 24.
Look at that.
Will you look at that? Will you just look at that? Just look at it. Let's spend 90 minutes looking at it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, what are we talking about tonight?
I think we should talk about the importance of collaboration.
Now, will we all three be able to talk about that?
All right, stop. Collaboration.
We're going to talk about collaboration, but I'm going to do all the talking.
Yeah. So we're going to talk. Well, I'm going to talk about the importance of collaboration tonight. And
boy, if there were ever a talk I should not dominate, it would be one on collaboration. Right?
I don't care what you guys say about collaboration. Here's what I think.
Oh my God!
What are your thoughts about it? I'm going glassless. I can't.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about collaboration, amigo?
Who? Me or Scott?
Well, you. It's your topic tonight, and we're
my
here to
topic.
support. Yeah, we're here to support
We
you.
collaborated on this prior to the show.
Oh, right.
My topic.
Right.
See, when we're in agreement, it's a collaborative effort, so it means it's a collaborative topic. Okay. So
I'm going to just sit here and sip from my Ken and Glenn show mug with a guy named Scott.
Oh, here's mine. Way over here. I got one. So, look, I think that, I have some really amazing things happening in life right now, as do you too. But I think about this, I have the book coming out on Tuesday in a couple of days, and I'm a co-author that's collaborated with a bunch of other authors like James Redfield and Dr. Bernie Siegel. And I was like, what, the power of, like, if I wrote a book in 2017, I self-published it. It became a bestseller on Amazon, not the same as the New York Times. Gittimer made that clear to me. but it still became a bestseller. And I think, man, like, I did that on my own. You take the power of a bunch of people together doing a project like that, and there is 0% chance of it not becoming a bestseller if everybody's on the same page. And so I was thinking about, like, well, I wonder what page everybody else is on. Like, you know what I mean?
It's going to be a pretty short book if everyone's on the same page.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well said.
All right. Hey,
good night, everybody.
Bye tonight, Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. That line, courtesy of Scott McKain, goes down in history as being the single best line delivered since Easter Sunday, which, by the way, was the night that we began the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. That was it. That wasn't one of them. That was it. And I bow to you, not only the line, but your timing of it and the delivery.
It was perfect. Wow.
I'm just honored to have been in the vicinity of such greatness. That was really well done. Hey, guys, before we rock and roll and swim right on into the deep end of the pool, I want to be sure to thank Kelly Ann for the cards that she sent me. She sent me the most beautiful thank you cards. Kelly Ann, much appreciated, my dear. They were beautiful. And I thought they were going to be 24 themed. Yes.
Kellen.
What did I say? Did I say Kellen Ann? Did I say Kelly Ann?
Kelly, you said Kelly and it's Kellen.
Oh, well, that really blows my thank you, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm sure Kelly Ann did a good job too.
Kellen, my apologies. Feel free to call me Glelly or something. I don't know. Well, you know, that just fell apart. And now you know why I'm in a business that gets redos. Right. So we just go to a take two. Watch this. I'm going to start all over again.
Yeah.
Kellen Ann, thank you for the cards that you sent me. In case you use a piece of this, thank you for that. Not only were they 24 in theme, but they wound up, Carolyn, I have to say, Carolyn looked at the cards and says, does it have your entire career on the card? I mean, it had so many different credits. So
that's pretty
thank
cool.
you. Thank you so much. It was very much appreciated.
That's pretty cool. We have Carrie Lynn Carter. Kellen says she can change the back to whatever you like.
Oh no, I love it. Kellen, I loved it. I thought it was just 24 and then it was so many. It was beautiful. There you go. It's okay, Gwen. There you go, Jeff. Thank you.
That's funny. That was pretty good. There you go. So that's awesome. Yeah. She does a really fabulous job on those cards.
Do you have any yet?
I do. I've had some for quite a while.
Well, I'm glad I could join the club. Joe Ingram's in the house with us tonight.
At least you have cards.
Right. That's right.
The what? What'd you say, Scott?
At least you guys have cards.
I know.
Scott's feeling a little left out.
Are you going to send Scott some cards? And she said, who's Scott?
I'm kidding.
Hey, Brent.
There we go. I like that. The Ken and Glenn with a guy named Scott book.
I like that idea, actually, a lot. A whole lot. So let's talk about collaboration on our new book.
Well, let's talk about collaboration as a general theme.
Yeah.
I think it probably, and I'm going to just throw this out there, probably stems from the old adage that two heads are better than one. Don't you imagine?
Yes.
That concept grew into something known as collaboration, and that if we were looking at something from multiple angles, we would broaden our understanding of that particular something, whatever it was. If you're looking at it from one vantage point only, that's nice that you have an opinion about it from that angle. But if you broaden your view, then you're going to be able to come up with answers and certainly solutions that you wouldn't have. Oh, Eric's loved me ever since the Andy Griffith Show. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I was close to Frances Bavier for years after we finished filming that. Frances Bavier, who played Aunt B, and she was very much like an aunt to me. And we'll go into that on another show.
Did you really know her?
No, Ken, I'm an actor. So I said it convincingly.
Yeah,
friend.
I was
buying
convinced.
it. I never met Frances Bavier. No.
Did you ever meet anybody? Weirdly, this to me works in with our theme because you talk about a collaborative cast. I mean, a cast that was just well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that might have been the all-time greatest collaborative cast. It certainly ranks up there with the great collaborative casts.
Tammy and I've been binging the Dick Van Dyke Show, and holy cow, what great writing, what great casting, what a great sitcom that was.
How about Carl Reiner in that show?
Oh, yeah. We just saw the one where Laura accidentally lets it out that he wears a toupee. And he's got all these styrofoam heads behind him with his different hair pieces on it. And oh my gosh, it is just absolute comedy brilliance. Just brilliant.
And just for the record, Mr. Actor guy, like, I'm not the only one that bought it. Okay. So, like, look, Russ Johns is over on LinkedIn. He said he bought it too. I'm not the only one. So you're convincing, man. You're good.
Thank you, brother. The only one I ever worked with from that show, I know Ron Howard. I've sat and visited with Ron in his office, but the only one I've actually stood in front of a camera with and done scenes with is Andy Griffith, because I wound up doing 2 episodes as a guest star of Matlock. And I even had the privilege of arresting Andy.
Oh my gosh.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
That is very cool.
So who played Andy Griffith?
Well, first of all, if you want to get it right, it would be called Who Played Andy Taylor.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, there's your screw up. Now I don't feel bad.
Never mind.
Scott, it's your turn. I opened with the screw up.
Wasn't funny.
Clint,
Ken,
that's a great comeback. There you go.
Ken has joined me with his foot in his mouth, and now it's your turn, Scott.
Yeah. Scott. Let's stump Scott on a presidential question.
Yes, his name was Sheriff Andy Taylor.
That's right. I knew that.
That's right.
I knew that. What makes you think I didn't know that? Did you ever see Martin Short do that bit? I think it was on Saturday Night Live.
I knew that. Being interviewed by 60 Minutes. Yeah, remember Harry Shearer was Mike Wallace interviewed him for 60 minutes. Oh, that's so great.
Like, I knew that. What makes you think I didn't know that?
Yeah.
Is it me?
I tell you who I could never get enough of. I don't think there is such a thing as too much of Floyd the Barber. You can't get too much of Floyd. Hey, Andy. Hey, Andy. He was like a dog panting for water, you know?
That is so funny.
It's so good. You know, I was telling you a few weeks back about the Johnny Dollar radio show, and he was one of the radio cast members. And it's but it was kind of an ongoing cast of that. And other than the main character, then they all played different characters every week. But it was what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it was like a ensemble cast that performed every week, but the role players played a different role in the script every week. Right. And it's so funny to hear his voice where he's not doing that, you know, but it's still his voice, you know, it is,
well, and without going to Google, Howard McNear.
Yes.
That's who it was. So meanwhile, back to collaboration, we know that they certainly collaborated.
Yeah.
And we've been collaborating on this, more of a spontaneous collaboration, but a collaboration nonetheless, where you realize that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yep. It's true.
I heard a speaker say, and he said, he quoted someone, I don't remember who he quoted, but I love the line, all of us are smarter than any of us.
Oh, that's good.
That's a beautiful line.
Joe, you win the prize tonight. Thank you.
So somebody's noticing.
Scott will send out the check.
You're not taking those multi-mile walks each day for nothing, amigo.
That's right. Yeah, I'm down 30 pounds, Joe.
Wow,
so thank
good for you,
thank
dude.
You for asking. Yeah, went from
a lot to less.
208 today.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Good for you, brother.
This goal is to get to 200 by my birthday. So I've got a month from today.
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but between last week and this week, I'm excited. I've been doing it as well. So actually in the last 2 weeks, I'm excited. I'm down 1 pound.
Oh,
A
there
lot
you
of
go.
people, a lot of people are saying,
gotta
Glenn,
start.
how do you do it? You know, how do you do it? An aggressive program like that, sign me up. You know,
Oh my God.
I saw the funniest thing. It's funny you mentioned that, Glenn. I saw the funniest thing on Facebook, and this woman had taken a picture, and honest to God, it was a Weight Watchers commercial, and the woman that they're interviewing had lost 4 pounds. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a great start, but it's not
sure. I
really
mean,
good for
congratulations and everything, but
Wow.
the woman that posted it said, "Thank you, Wanda. I appreciate that. We Carleysville folks sticking together." And the woman posted said, "I lose that much walking from Buffalo Wild Wings to my car."
oh, that's beautiful.
That is funny.
Oh, Eric wants to know if you're single.
No.
Yeah.
Let me check with my wife. Hey.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Uh,
So how long should somebody collaborate on a project?
ooh, that's a great question.
I mean, right? I guess, is it dependent on the project or what?
I think it always depends on the project. In fact, one of my favorite non-committal answers, but I do mean it, to almost every question is depends, because we need more information. You know, what type of diaper will you wear later in life? Depends. You know.
I was trying to think.
Thank you. Thank you. And scene. But no, it's true that it does depend. And I think you also have to be careful about who you're collaborating with. Just my 2 cents. I think you have to, for example, a collaboration, and let's look at the unhealthy side. So first, the unhealthy collaboration would be an optimist collaborating with a pessimist. And the reason is your collective will calibrate right in the middle. So, for example, if someone is found to be happy 90% of the time, and someone else is happy 30% of the time, and they go into business or marriage or any kind of partnering, then their collective will be approximately a 60% happiness ratio. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. So it's not a good idea to just collaborate with anyone, but collaborate with someone that's got the same kind of mindset. That doesn't mean they have to be your mirror image twin, but they have to be on, we'll go back to that line with Scott's, of the same page. They've got to be on the same page of expectation, you know, and then you will have a dynamic collaboration. But if I'll tell you, the one thing I would never collaborate with in business or in life is a doubter. Yeah. I wouldn't do that. Now, I would coach a doubter, but I wouldn't collaborate with a doubter.
Yep.
If that makes sense. And the reason is I wouldn't want to risk contamination of the ideas that we're working on.
Right.
So I think you've got to be careful when you are collaborating of how many voices are allowed to chime in. It doesn't have to be a great idea, but it does have to be an advanced consciousness, I think, because if you're expecting failure, you don't belong on my team, you know, but I certainly will offer you thoughts about that. I just don't want you on a team of collaborators if you're expecting failure.
I had a fantastic meeting this week with a potential business partner for the future for another project. And I learned more in my meeting with him about how this should be structured. I was so impressed. It got me so excited about the collaboration because he said a couple of things. He said, first of all, here's the percentage that I desire. And in my opinion, he wasn't taking enough, which I said to him, rather than saying, "Oh gosh, what a great deal," or you know, "Well, if you insist," I said, "You know, I think you need." He said, "No, here's the point." He said, "I want to suggest to you a percentage that I know that I can fulfill," because he said at the beginning of any good collaboration, each of us need to know that the other person will do what they said they would do, but that they don't promise more. You know, if we set it up as 50-50 and you're doing 75% of the work, then this is not going to be a successful collaboration.
Right. Right.
And I thought that was so powerful. He said, the second thing is, he said, I think it's important that we also, right now at the very beginning, decide how we would dissolve this. And I kind of had a prejudice about that. You know, I hear of people that, you know, have relationships, they're going to get married, but the argument over the prenup ruins the, you know, and I've heard, I haven't said it, but I've heard people say it's planning what to do if you fail. He said, no, here's my belief. He said, if either one of us decides that we want out, then we should say, you can buy me out for this. And the other person can either accept that amount or pay you $1 more. That was all new to me. And I just thought that was so smart, right? I mean, because if it's, pick a number, if it's $1,000, you know, you're not doing your part, I'll give you $1,000 to the company. Great. I'll give you 1,001. So you only, that way you don't try to, you know, rob them with what you'd offer for it. It was just such an interesting thing about how do you plan for, how do you plan for a good relationship? I have a friend that bought a part of a business, and they bought 50-50, and the business never worked because somebody in any partnership, now, I don't think so much in America, but in a business partnership, somebody has to be the final decision maker, right? I mean, you want collaboration, but at some point, well, you know,
isn't that why they have 9 seats on the Supreme Court?
Yes, exactly. Because it's got to, you can't have 8. You know, it's you have to have a number that there can be a majority, and it's why the vice president can break a tie in the Senate, because you can't have a 50-50 where nothing gets done. And it really is interesting in terms of collaboration, because collaboration doesn't necessarily have to be a unification of equals, as long as everyone knows their role and everyone performs based on the expectations that were established when the collaboration was set up.
Yeah.
If we do a book, right, and everybody has to have a chapter in by next Friday, then we have to hold each other accountable that it's next Friday, or else you need to say up front, man, I'm swamped right now. I can't get it in until 14 days rather than 7. Now, you get it in 14 days and everybody's fine because you know it on the front end. But what often destroys collaboration, I think, are people that don't live up to what they said they would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And above all, this person seems one of the words that I'm a big fan of in life seems very fair.
Yeah.
That seems fair. Everything you just said seems fair, and it seems reasonable, and it seems smart. And if I can put a check mark by each one of those, I feel good going into situations like that. I'm a fan of fair.
Yeah.
Really a fan of fair.
Yeah, that was the thing. I got in the car after the meeting, and I'm thinking, boy, that was extraordinarily fair. I mean,
I even think, push it a little further, I even think that most things, I would dare not say all things, but I think if we're realistic and don't want to play the victim, that most things that do occur are fair. Yes. Most things, not all. And Ken and I talk a lot just on the phone about the phrase, what's your role in it? So if something seems unfair, there's a good chance that you're only looking at the outer edge of manifestation. But if you travel upstream and then say, what's my role in it? Then suddenly you don't feel like quite the victim that you've esteemed yourself to be, because as you travel upstream, you go, well, I did do this, or I did say that. And all of a sudden you go, so now does the outcome seem a little more fair than you had originally calculated? And so I do think that most things are fair. I think we live in a mostly fair world. And I'm not real interested in, well, you have no idea, because I know there are things that are grotesquely unfair. But I also think that we're in huge psychological, emotional, and spiritual trouble if we've decided that we live in a mostly unfair world.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a terrible thing to wake up to. I can't imagine waking up with the mindset of, here we go, another day in this mostly terribly unfair world. But I don't wake up that way, and I thank God that I don't. I think that most things are neutral. Most things are neutral, and then we get to decide how strong a role we want to play in any particular situation. Yeah. What we're committed to. I think you hit the nail on the head, Scott, when you're talking about what is your level of commitment, what were the agreed upon terms. And as long as you're honoring the agreement you made, I don't think there's necessarily a correct contract. It's the one that you agreed to.
Well, I think your profession, Glenn, is such a great example of that, right? You know, when you go to Atlanta, what your role, so to speak, is in that production, and you are compensated based upon what that role is. Mm-hmm. And my assumption is, if they would decide all of a sudden the show is not about your son, but now it's going to be about you, that there would be a renegotiation of what that role and what that compensation and what that time commitment and all of that would take place. And
a stepping up across the board.
Yeah. So
on all levels.
I think that's a great model for, you know, and you know what the role is before you ever show up to the set. It's not like they get everybody together and go, okay, today you're this and you're, you know, so it's such a great model for how we proceed.
In that example, though, there's more than one writer for the show, right?
They write in teams typically, Ken.
Yeah, and they have to collaborate, right?
Yes.
Like there's not one guy that goes, no, we're doing it. Like they have to collaborate together on it.
Absolutely. And then their final draft is not the final draft. It's their final draft. And then they submit it to the network. They submit it to the executive producers and so forth, so that it either gets approved or not. And then they always get back to them with suggestions and further notes. But it is interesting that everyone is trusted to know their assignment.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it go any other way. No one has ever told me how to play this role. Not one time, and this will be the start of our 4th season. And I'm not unique in that regard. That's the way it is on the show. People don't tell any of the people, including Matt. They don't tell Matt what they want from him. They map out the trajectory of the season, but then he brings to the role his own essence based on what he deems to be appropriate.
Right.
And what his feelings are. And nobody is ever told that they're wrong. They may slightly modify a particular moment, but nobody has ever said, oh, no, don't do that. They say that in the audition room. Mm-hmm. If they've hired you, that is the vote of confidence that says, we admire your instincts. And that's what it comes down to. Once you've got the job, they let you be the one that has the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of trying to interfere with your creative process, if you were not appealing to them based on your instinctual choices in the room, they wouldn't have hired you. So I think that's also a successful mark of a corporation, is let people, once they've earned the job, do the job that they earned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of micromanaging. I haven't seen micromanagement really be efficient, because when you're managing, yes, micromanaging, no, because when we're micromanaging, what you're basically telling people is, I do not trust you and or your instincts. So I'm going to hover over you like a mother bird and make sure you don't make any wrong moves. How on God's green earth is that supposed to instill confidence?
Absolutely. And
it doesn't. And that pattern is true no matter what your business is.
Yes, and I think the other thing they're saying is, and I don't trust my ability as a leader to lead you to deliver the type of performance when you're micromanaging, right?
Right.
You're saying, I don't trust you to get the job done the way I want it. And what they don't realize, the micromanagers don't realize, is what they're also saying is, and you know, I don't think I'm good enough to manage and to lead so that I motivate the performance that I desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they never think about that. That it's micromanagement to me is really a sign of their lack of vision and the manager's lack of leadership than it is the particular performance necessarily the person being overly managed.
Yeah, and I don't think there's really any room in micromanagement for spontaneous developments.
Yeah.
Because you haven't made room for that. You haven't budgeted for the unknown factor. And so much of life's beauty occurs when we make room for the surprises, the beautiful surprises of life.
Yeah.
This is why I don't schedule every moment of my life, because I would ruin the quality of my life if I tried to schedule every moment.
Well, it would prevented you jumping on a plane and flying out and meeting Ken.
Absolutely.
You know, which was one of the great things ever. You know,
absolutely.
At a gas station in the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
Which was written by Mac Davis, who passed away this week, by the way.
Mac Davis passed away this week?
Yes, he did.
Wow. I am just now hearing that. I wanted to give a shout out to someone that I've idolized for years, Helen Reddy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who passed away this last week. When did Mac pass?
Tuesday, after heart surgery in Nashville. And interestingly enough, Mac wrote I Believe in Music that was a hit for Helen Reddy.
Oh, wow.
But a really, really touching thing that I don't know if you remember Mac Davis's song, I Thought Happiness Was Lubbock, Texas in My Rearview Mirror. And he's being buried in a pair of jeans in Lubbock, Texas.
Wow.
He said that the song was really about him, learning to appreciate what he was from.
And there's our buddy down
there. There's Ernest. Yes.
There's Ernest, who looks at Lubbock through the windshield.
Absolutely. Oh, I didn't know that. Very cool, Ernest.
Wow.
Mac Davis has a street named after him.
Wow.
Nice.
I
can't believe I didn't hear that. What, Ken?
I have one in New York.
You have a street named after? Of course you do. Of course you do. We now have a tie for the best line in the show. Touche there, Walt. Touche, baby. Well done. Yeah, Helen Reddy. I was telling this on the show last night. Ken and I did a little brief pop on with Kat Hill, who was remarkable. Kat, if you're watching tonight, you were terrific last night, and the folks loved you, really did.
She was amazing.
But there's, I was thinking about Helen Reddy, who was an Australian sensation, and she was promised a record deal in New York. So she didn't even come straight to Los Angeles. She flew from Australia to New York and landed there with one child and $230 in her pocket.
Wow.
And of course, a record deal. Or so she thought.
Wow.
So she got there to the news. There's no record deal. Just saying, just letting you know, not going to be a record deal. And so once again, yet another story of resilience. And how do we persevere? How do we transcend? How do we triumph over challenge? Because challenges come our way in life. It is inherent with life that we will be given many things, if we live long enough, to overcome. And you either complain about the height of the bar, or you find a way to go sailing over it. And I mean, that's a game-ending moment for a lot of people. And I'm sure Helen checked in with herself and said, baby girl, what are you made of? Because here we go. This is what's happening. And my opinion as to whether or not I like it isn't really in play here, because it's still here for me to face after I've pouted about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's an incredible story of survival. And I was always a Helen Reddy fan.
I think, and when we were talking pre-show, I was thinking about the reason that I wanted to talk about collaboration is there's not, it's just like the book that I'm doing with Jeffrey, that I wrote the chapter with Jeffrey Gitomer in, that's coming out, here in the next month or so. And I think about the success and joy and happiness I've experienced in life can almost always go back to some sort of a collaborative effort with another human being. And I think I see so many people, you guys know what I teach, the live streaming stuff. And I see so many people just trying to go out there and have at it on their own with no collaboration with other people, no doing interviews, no bringing other people into the mix. No, look at us. We are the #1 internet show, period.
In our minds.
Right. No, but with
on our pages on Sunday night.
Right.
There's no page I promote more than this show.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, the collaborative effort of, when you have 1 or 2 or 3 or more people that are involved in whatever the project is, there is a much, much, much more significant chance of that project succeeding than if you were to try to do it on your own.
Absolutely.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Helen Reddy, I guarantee you, I don't know her story. But I know this, that she didn't make it in life because of her own efforts alone.
Oh, of course not.
Right. You just reminded me, I haven't shared this. I need to do that right now.
You what?
I forgot to share this on.
Oh.
And well, Brian Hess, that is beautiful. Brian Hess says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Brian.
Good.
That's awesome, dude. Love that, Brian. It's so true though, man. If you want to figure out how to if you're alone right now and you're struggling, or you're trying, and it's the entire premise of me creating my daily show. I was going through some stuff, and I had to go, what do I do? I got to start. I don't think the word collaborate came to mind, but that's what I did when I said, I'm going to start interviewing people like Scott McKain and Glenn Morshower and, and through that, by bringing other people into my life just to have them come on and tell their story, my life has been blessed beyond measure. So I think it's the same for just about anybody.
I think it can be said that collaboration begins at birth between a mother and a child. Both agree to push. And as a result, we have a birth, which is, we don't think of it that way, but I think there's a lot of truth. And whether we do it instinctual, it's probably an instinctual collaboration. We certainly don't negotiate it verbally, but there is something about our instinct that says it's time to push.
Yeah.
Here we go. And you team up on that, and the extent to which you can makes it go better. I tell you what the big contaminator of collaboration is ego. And especially, and I can see that this would be one of the marked reasons why some folks might avoid collaboration. Not that it's in their favor to do so, because it isn't. I think collaborations are amazing. God knows 24 was one of the greatest collaborative efforts in the history of television, for sure.
Yeah.
Certainly the most collaborative situation I've ever worked in, by far. By far. Nothing has touched it. And that's beautiful. But if you fear that someone else's idea or their contribution or their opinion, whatever it is, might somehow be stronger than yours, then you're going to be hellish to be around in a team of collaborators. And especially if you're the CEO, you have to be more interested in the best opinion than in your opinion. And sometimes your opinion will be the best opinion, and sometimes it won't. But you have to be devoted to what is the most efficient approach we can take here and be committed to efficiency more than we're committed to whose idea it was. I think we have to officially give up caring whose idea it was. And I think the CEO that's ready for greatness is the one who fully understands that the answers to today's challenges might very well be voiced by the janitor in his building or her building.
Yep.
You don't know the source from whence wisdom will come, because wisdom flows through us all.
Yep.
If we're open to that, we'll be great collaborators. If we're not, we won't.
I agree. By the way, if you're over on LinkedIn, share this out. Let's get some more traction on LinkedIn. I love the fact that we're live streaming on LinkedIn now too.
Tell me what that really means, Ken. I'm a member on LinkedIn, but I think I last approved something on it the week it was invented.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you haven't even accepted my friend request.
I haven't accepted anyone. So if you've LinkedIn requested for a connection in business, please know it's not personal. I'm on it, but I really haven't done anything since it first started. I'm not even sure what the function of LinkedIn. So we're live on LinkedIn. So that what is the value of that? I'm sure there is value, or we wouldn't be there.
There are people who, how do I say this and be nice? There are people that will only use LinkedIn because they think that it's more professional than more professional than the other platforms. And unfortunately, a lot of those people ignore the 8,000-pound gorilla, Facebook. And I think, that makes me sad, because I mean, like Scott, I'm sure you've done a ton of business as a result of Facebook. I know I have. So, I think that, but anyway, there is an audience on LinkedIn for anyone that you won't find on other social media platforms. You are not one of the people I would target on LinkedIn, especially since I sent you a friend request 6 months ago and you still haven't accepted it.
You're referring to Scott or me?
You.
Or is it both?
Scott and I have been friends on LinkedIn for years.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing I'd have to know is my friggin' password. I'm not joking.
Brian, I think that helps.
Brian just said, I'm glad you cleared that up, Glenn. Before you said that, I thought you didn't accept my LinkedIn request because you were upset with me. Oh my gosh. Thicken thy skin, my dear brother. No, I'm not upset with you. I'm not into LinkedIn. It's something that someone tried to, this will be good for you in business. It'll be good. I'm thinking my business does not depend on LinkedIn. Yeah. No one's ever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Get ahead of the curve, man. I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm totally kidding, dude.
Well, so what am I supposed to do? Like a mass approval, a mass acceptance stretch? Like just sit down and just go and cover about 5 years worth of LinkedIn requests?
Because unlike Facebook, you don't have a 5,000 limit on friends.
It's 30.
And by the way, Ken is being very humble here, because not everybody gets approved to live stream on LinkedIn. I have gotten rejected. So the fact that he is gotten approved is a great sign of what a live streaming guru we really have in our midst.
See, here's another one, Pinterest. You guys, look, I know if you look at what's behind me, you realize that even my office is trapped in the 80s. But I mean, it is, those over here, those are CDs, and from time to time, they actually get listened to.
Did I just hear somebody say, Marsha?
We're big on the internets, boys.
I'll tell you something, Glenn would be. He'd be, if he got on it and actually used it, Glenn would kill it on TikTok.
Yes, he absolutely would.
Because
Yes.
Glenn loves to do dances and all that. I know Glenn would blow up on TikTok.
All right. All right. This is my week. I'm going to break out, gentlemen.
They'd be like,
break out. I'm going to be
God,
big on Pinterest and TikTok and TokTik and whatever else is out there.
Pinterest.
Dude,
What is it? Pinterest. How do you say it?
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do I need to know about that would improve my life?
Not much. I'm not a.
No.
All right. So I want to
fan.
throw this out there to and admit to you why I have kind of avoided these things like the plague is because I don't think there are a lot of people that check their motives when reaching out to people. I know this because even in Facebook, there are people with questionable motives that reach out with assumptions that you are going to write the forward to their book, or like, dude, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. You get that.
I get this. I get a lot of them. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, is shut down the quality of my life so that I can focus on the life of someone I've never met. And we don't have anything that we're doing together. And it comes in droves. Or the people that send you a script, for which I'm grateful, but I'd have better things to do with my time than just randomly sit around and read scripts, most of which will never be done. They're not greenlit. They've not been financed. But they want me to give them my opinion. I'm thinking there are professionals that do that they provide a service. And so my personal fave, if I can be so candid, is when I am sent a script and the next day there is a reach by someone I do not know. And the next day they reach out and want to know if I've read it yet.
Yeah.
And I have the same reaction every time. It's just blah, 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 like, are you kidding? And this is why I think God gave us the delete button.
Why do people send their scripts to you? You don't approve movies.
All of a sudden I'm a studio head. I don't know. But they've always written a role for me. It's always the thing. We've got a great role in it for you. And we'll go get some money and follow procedure.
Is it
because I don't need to know that you've got a great role in a film that's never going to be made. I'm just like, it's out of sequence, you know?
Do they think that if they can get you to say yes, then that would increase their chances of getting investors to
exactly the strategy behind it. You know, but the thing is,
in theory, you could go, hey, Mr. Studio Head that I hang out with once in a while. So I happen to read one of the 4,000 emails, and man, this script's got blockbuster.
Were you going to say it's got legs?
There you go, legs.
Yeah, well, like every script gets touted to have.
I mean, would you
it's got
have
legs.
that ability?
No.
The
studios don't care what I think.
Scott would have a better chance, or I would.
You would have just as good a chance.
Really?
So my godson attended USC film school, and I don't remember the director that said this in one of the classes. It might USC. No, it wouldn't have been Spielberg. But anyway, it was some prominent director, and I wish I could remember who he said it. But taking questions from the audience, and one of the students there said, "I have come up with this just incredibly creative script. You've never read anything like it. How do I get it in the hands of someone that could read it and make a decision?"
A position of influence.
And the director's response was, "You expect me to believe that you were creative enough to write a script like I've never encountered, but you're not creative enough to find the way to get it in the right hands."
Right. Those two don't line up.
I thought but I thought it was a great response that if you're innovative enough to do this, could you be innovative? Aren't you innovative enough to come up with some kind of way to get it in the hands of the people that you desire? I don't know. I like that response. I guess in part too, because, like you guys too, I'm always getting hit up. Hey, would you come give this speech for free?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
as
it's
soon as
always
they start giving me my groceries for free.
Yeah, exactly. It's always asked by people who are getting paid to do the meeting, to lead the meeting, but they want me to do, it's exposure. Well, people die from exposure.
Dude, please tell me that is your canned response.
Yes, it is.
Please tell me that.
It is.
That's
Oh
funny.
my
People
God.
die from
I have two canned responses. One is, this is great exposure. Well, people die from exposure. And what do you talk about? And I say, about an hour.
Yes. We've heard that one on this show a few
Yes,
times.
you have.
What are we talking about tonight, guys? About
90
90 minutes. Hey, speaking of 90 minutes, at exactly the 51-minute mark,
Yes.
every week
without fail, this
it never fails.
From Easter on has been the time that we have said it's time once again for us to play the weekly game. Ooh, that's just wrong.
Ooh, that's just wrong.
Jack.
Wrong.
That was some Wolfman. Howl now, dude. Howl.
You got one tonight?
I got one.
Oh, bring it.
All right. Ken takes the lead.
I got one. And it is definitely wrong, and it is pissing me off. Am I allowed to say that on the air?
Yeah.
No. So don't do it. Okay.
Every single social media platform, including the China-owned one, TikTok, every single one of them are trying to get me to register to vote. I am 52 years old. I did that a long time ago. I figured out the entire process, and I have not missed an election vote unless I wanted to miss it. Like, I got it. I'm a grown adult. Leave me the hell alone, social media platform owners. I got it. Thank you. That's just wrong. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree. Meaning
Every
affirmative.
single time I log into any social media platform, it's like, do you want to change your state? I'm like, no, I know where I registered. You leave me alone. Like, stop. It's crazy.
I was sent, this is not that's just wrong, but I was sent a survey that was, Your Honor, they're leading the witness, was my reaction to this survey, because it began, I won't tell you which party, but it began with, do you agree that so-and-so would destroy? Do you agree that so-and-so, so not do you think, but do you agree?
Yeah.
And every one of them was designed to trash the other. And so I'm going to run a test here. I'm going to say no to every one of them. To every question. There are 18 questions. I'm going to say no to all of them that I don't agree, just to see if that strategy will get me the hell off their mailing list. And I'm predicting that it still won't work.
No, the Secret Service is going to show up at your house.
Oh, Scott, you got one?
Joan just posted a great one, because I'm getting those calls too. The voicemail, and they're speaking Japanese or Chinese, and it's spam calls, and they're obviously they're just blowing out calls because they don't know who. The part that gets me is, and we're a month away from the election, and again, I don't mean this for one side or another, but the presumption of some people on social media that telling someone they're an idiot is going to sway them to agreement.
On either side of the equation.
Either side. I mean, could you imagine watching football today and Ford comes on with an ad and says, hey, if you drive a Chevy, you're a freaking moron. Would Chevy drivers go, they're probably right.
It had not occurred to me.
Not occurred to me.
I need to go buy a Ford Pronto.
Or Bronco. Does Ford still make the Pronto? I don't know. It's just, that never changes anyone's mind. And let's face it, as depending on the polls, and I know that people have feelings about polls and they, but it's reasonable to assume that it's not going to be a landslide for either side. And so you'd better not drive anyone away if you want your side to win. But yet we have gotten so aggressive and so just in your face. And yes, there are some that advertise based on controversy, but you've got to understand that there you can do well without a 50% market share. Most people forget when the iPhone came out, Steve Jobs talked about the numbers at the announcement of the iPhone. One of the things that Steve Jobs talked about is what Apple would have if they were able to capture 1% of the market share for mobile phones, for mobile devices.
Here.
They were a winner with 1%. You can't win elective office with 1%. Right. So when Hertz and Avis and Enterprise going against each other, there's plenty of money there for everybody. Now you want to grow your market share, but you can you can poke fun at one because you're still going to do all right. This is a winner take all game when we get to an election. It's not that, hey, if I get 51 and you get 49, I'll serve for 2 years and a month and you get you get the rest of the term. And it just seems just to make common sense that we would do everything we could to be persuasive and not offensive. I just think it's wrong.
Well, certainly one would think so in a healthy world, but the health of our world,
yes.
The spiritual health, the emotional health has been in question my whole life. So but I agree that's not the way to go. I know that if I were the CEO of a company, one of the things as I was sending my team out into the world that I would say each week is, and folks, as you go out into the world this week, show some class.
Yeah.
It would be a standard departing slogan. Just show some class. Class goes a long way. People remember class too, and they respond very favorably to it. Yeah. May I share my ooh? That's just wrong.
May I just
sure. Go. You're going to go on a deeper dive. Cool.
That reminded me of the story. And I believe it was Tom Landry, but somebody scored a touchdown and celebrated in the end zone. And famous Cowboy coach Landry said, "Son, act like you've been there before."
Act like you've been there before.
I love that. So sorry, I just wanted to add that because
and there's not
class is just
just in general, can we agree? Or I won't lead the witness, Your Honor. I'll just say, what are your thoughts, gentlemen? Instead of can we agree? What are your thoughts on taunting in general? I hold the belief that taunting is a very low vibrational behavioral choice, and that taunting is what sets us up in life for something that a lot of us heard growing up in the 60s, which is, son, you're cruising for a bruising. There's something about taunting, whether you're taunting an individual, whether you're taunting a group, whether you're taunting a circumstance, but just taunting in general. I just think it makes the taunter look the worst of anybody. I think that taunting makes the taunter look worse than the thing that is being taunted or the person. Just throwing that out there. I gotta tell you what my ooh, that's just wrong, because I'll tell you when it's a good one. It's a good one when your wife is sitting right next to you and she does this. She goes and smiles, because what she's telling you is, and that will be this week's ooh, that just wrong. And we both knew it. We both knew it as it played out. It was like, and that will be Sunday's comment. So this starts with a shout out to my Aunt Elaine, who this past week turned 90. Wow. And we went to her 90th birthday party, and she's a very spry 90. She is a with it gal. And we had a wonderful conversation. And I love her loyalty because she sat there celebrating her 90th birthday while wearing a Texas Rangers shirt, covered by a Texas Rangers blanket, wearing a Texas Rangers hat. And with improvement, the Rangers could have sucked this year. And yet that did not stop her from supporting her team. Now, that's not even that's just wrong. I actually think that's cool. She's clearly not a fair weather fan. But we had a wonderful day together, and one of our family members, I'll remain nameless because this is all harmless, but man, it was funny. One of our family members, a cousin, like a second cousin, I think, came up and called her either grandma or mama. I don't know what the term was, but referencing she is the grandmother, and said, "Mama, you have picked the worst single day of the year to celebrate today." And she just looked up because, I mean, it was the obvious day to do it because I'm 90.
Yeah.
I'm 90, and this is the closest weekend. She turned 90 right before the weekend, and this is when we're going to do it. We're not going to do it 3 weeks down the road. We're going to do it right now. But the reason that was given all in one breath, this cousin of mine said, this is probably the worst possible weekend you could have done it because this is the first day of deer hunting season.
Oh, jeez.
And Carolyn and I did this just slow pan to each other. And I said, I leaned into her and I said, allow me to translate. As much as I love you, there are things that I need to be killing. Seems like I need to be doing some killing instead of loving, but you are 90. And so anyway, I'll be here. I laughed so hard. I thought it was priceless.
Wow.
Just priceless. So
now, is this cousin a regular audience member of our show?
I have no idea, but I thought it was priceless. And I will thank this cousin of mine for the material, for giving me the material, because it was beautiful. And all I can say to you, deer hunters out there, if someone in your life is turning 90, just go ahead and make them the priority. Okay. Your trigger pulling fetish can wait, right? The deer aren't going anywhere. They will still be there for you to eliminate them. But anyway, happy birthday, Aunt Elaine.
Yes, but deer, when hunting season starts, the deer start running, and they like run away from where hunter. Can I tell a quick story? It's hilarious.
Oh God,
it's so funny.
Sure.
My wife is she is the epitome of an animal lover. And so we had 6 acres, log home. 3 acres behind our house was all wooded, and it backed up against a property that this big farmer owned, and it was, they weren't using it for anything. Well, the farmer allowed his buddy to set up a blind. It's a tent, basically a hunting tent, right? And so he's on the backside of our property, 3 acres separating our house and a lot of trees. And he's on the backside, right on the edge, but he's hunting the farmer's property. And my wife, we're hearing, obviously you're still going to hear shots ring out, and she gets pissed, and she decides to go stomping out through the snow into the woods, screaming at a guy in the blind,
a guy who's armed
with a gun.
Yeah, who's armed. I have children and dogs up here. And I mean, he's yelling back, I would never shoot towards your house out of respect and safety. And she's like, I don't care. I feed those deer, which she did. She fed the deer. Like, they would come right up to the deck and eat out of her hands. And and you're not going to kill my deer. And he's like, it's hunting season. And I'm going, Jill, would you please get out of the woods and come in? Like, seriously. So she's really ticked off at this point, and she gets a box, a boom box, a 300-foot extension cord, and she looked it up on the internet how to scare off deer from being in an area, and they're scared of music. They associate it with humans are nearby. So this is like November.
Especially rap. They're not fond of rap.
The local radio station is at that point playing Christmas music 24/7. And she runs an extension cord all the way out in the middle of the woods, puts the boombox underneath this box to keep it out of the weather.
Right.
She's blasting Christmas music.
I have heard that Christmas music absolutely slays them.
That guy, oh my God, he was so ticked off. Like, yeah. So it didn't end well for the hunter. She won. My wife won that fight.
Good for Jill, man.
I was like, oh my God. Every time I get out on the road, I think, am I passing by the hunter?
So perhaps Jill should read my new book, Taunting Hunters, Let's Chat.
I was like, oh my God. Her dad's like, you're going to mess around and get shot. You better stop that. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, sorry.
We got a lot of comments tonight.
We do.
Any want to illuminate so that we can bring them into the conversation here? Hello, Jay Fox, my buddy.
Glenn, only in a present tense.
Yeah, I loved his line about turn on Yoko Ono music. That drives the hunter away too.
Right.
I used the term music there very loosely, by the way.
Cat Hill's rooting my wife on. That is so funny. That is funny.
Cat gave us a great concert last night. And Robert Brooker has announced the arrival of Cat Hill.
Oh, look at that.
Attention, please. Cat Hill has entered the stadium. Cat Hill has arrived.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hunters save cars. Hey, listen, I am not against hunting in any way. So not at all. Unless it's just for sport, then I am. But if you're going to use the meat, I think I'm all for it. So that's me personally. So I agree.
I wasn't attacking hunters. I was laughing at the idea of prioritizing hunting over wishing your 90-year-old grandmother.
I agree with you. I agree.
Mean, you know, it just seems like at 90, your day should take precedence over everything. And maybe the other days don't even deserve to be mentioned in the same breath, you know? I don't know. We found it highly, highly entertaining. But life gets that way, you know?
Scott, you had to have grown up with hunters. Oh, I mean, my gosh.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Did you ever hunt?
Oh yeah. As a kid, yeah. And but I mean, we would squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt, you know, but we would always, you know, eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just part of what you did. You didn't kill anything that you didn't use. I had a friend a long time ago. He's passed away, but he was a National FFA officer the year I was born. So he kind of took me under his wing, and he was a congressman. His name was Jerry Litton. Randall readers on here will certainly remember Congressman Jerry Litton. And he was on the House Agriculture Committee. And he said part of the problem was because the ag budget also did food stamps, that the Congress members from, you know, Manhattan and Chicago and that wanted to be on the House Agriculture Committee, believe it or not, because that's how they could influence the policy regarding food stamps. But he said the problem was when the farmers would come testify and they had no idea, you know, they were agriculturally illiterate. They had no idea about food production or about the challenges that they were facing. And he would always tell the story about the old farmer from, from out west that was talking. And the problem was that, you know, coyotes were endangering his livestock. but yet they had been protected, so he couldn't do anything about it. And he was there to ask for the ability, just like with deer hunting, thinning the herd and preserving the herd. He was asking for the same thing about coyotes. Well, this New York congressman just went crazy about how inhumane that was and how horrible that was, and why didn't they investigate sterilizing? Why didn't he, why didn't they sterilize the coyotes? They could have found a way to make the coyotes sterile and eliminate the problem. He said the farmer just sat there and said, "Ma'am, they ain't raping our sheep, they're eating them." It was the greatest story.
I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm done.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm done.
I love that story. Oh, what a great guy. He was killed in a plane crash. A leader that I think would have probably been president at some point. Amazing guy.
That same house we lived in, I saw, because we had coyotes like crazy, and there's all these news reports all the time of coyotes killing dogs, and they will, man.
We had it in our neighborhood here this weekend.
Even a big dog, they'll because they travel in packs, and they all attack, and so look, he's here every Sunday.
Try the veal, Jay. Try the veal.
Man, Karen Toddy is sending me messages. She's unable to comment on our stream, and she's tried it from I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Keep trying, Karen.
Maybe go over to my YouTube channel and try it there on YouTube, Karen. Over to youtube.com/Ken Walls and subscribe while you're there. Anyway, but we had I'm sitting in our living room, and I see a coyote come running across the road and through the yard, and I knew it was going to be, so I grabbed the first pistol I had and it within reach. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a little tiny 380 is not something that you want to take a shot at a coyote in hopes of hitting it from 60, 70 yards away. And they can jump. These coyotes, I did not realize how high they can jump. Anyway, that's my coyote story.
We lost our kitten to a coyote, and I learned the painful way how high apparently a coyote can jump, because I had no idea that they could come up and over a really tall wooden fence.
They sure can.
I had no idea. And all you have to do is lose one of your favorite pets to a hungry coyote, and then you go, fences aren't really much of a defense against coyotes consuming your pet.
Coyotes are not your friend. They are not your friend. Karen, there you are. Yes, we can see
Karen
you.
has persevered.
Hallelujah. I don't know why she wasn't able to comment on Facebook. Facebook does that. We might be in Facebook jail for commenting too much somewhere else. I don't know. They do that sometimes. It's weird.
Teresa Adams Hennessy. Go ahead, Ken.
There's no closed season on coyotes in Georgia. Yeah, there's no closed season here either in Ohio. They're coming into coyotes are coming into very heavily populated areas now, because it's easy to snag a little dog or a cat. Or
there was some on TikTok the other day here in Vegas, and the woman is getting ready to open up her door to let the dog out, and it's a beautiful day, and and all of a sudden she sees there's a mountain lion by the pool.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I
mean, that would be,
yeah.
I mean, Tammy and I will go out with our dogs. I mean, we don't, if our dogs are in the backyard, we're out there with them.
Jay. Yeah. Cause a coyote can, they're
Jay, where did he get so much credit with the Acme Corporation?
Yeah.
I've always wondered that, because the coyote always orders all this crap from Acme.
I know.
And
Right.
it must have an incredible credit limit at Acme.
And large amounts of TNT.
Yes.
You know, Jonathan said up here, he's talking about taunting. And I was just thinking about how many of you, I mean, we tend to forget rather quickly what happened in last year's Super Bowl. There are probably millions of people who couldn't tell you who was in the bowl, but it meant so much last year. But all of a sudden we've forgotten who it was. But I remember a form of taunting was the group photo that the 49ers took. You remember this moment, guys? It was a group photo after they had scored, and it was looking good for them. And as they piled onto one another as a family in the end zone, I mean, they came out from the sidelines and went down there. The game wasn't even close to over, but it looked very promising. So they decided that it was a great time for a photo op, the entire team in the end zone, piled up like a bunch of cheerleaders. And I looked at it and went, and that will be the end of them. Because if I'm on the other team, they have just incentivized the living daylights out of me. Every part of me is on fire if it wasn't already. And it wound up costing them the game.
Wow.
Just a full-blown, premature, extensive celebration and it looked like a game-ending celebration. And meanwhile, you got time on the clock, boys. You might want to finish the game before you start posing right and left, you know.
Yep.
Where is Jay based, Jay Fox?
Dallas.
Oh, he's here? Yeah.
Yeah, but he does nationally syndicated radio. Been a business acquaintance of mine and buddy for years.
Look, yeah, until he does radio. Look at this. Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, he's got a little thing going on that's specifically going to be playing in Nashville in the 9 o'clock hour. And that was courtesy of Kat's concert last night.
Very cool.
Which I think is going to be great. And thank you for that, Jay, big time. And thanks for tuning in to our show every Sunday evening. We love having you here, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I'm being interviewed tomorrow.
Someone's interviewing you instead of the other way around.
Station in LA. It's on ESPN radio. Actually, I'm being interviewed.
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Is it just Dealer's Choice?
Who's the show?
It's with I just drew a blank. Ron Siegel.
Oh, with Ron. Yeah. So is it Dealer's Choice? Is it whatever you want to talk about, or do you guys have a specific topic?
I don't know that there's a specific topic.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So how do we see it? Will it also be simulcast in other platforms, or?
I don't know all the answers to that yet. I have some research I got to do. I don't know what. I know it's on ESPN radio and it's on a lot of other radio stations. I guess I don't know though. It's based out of LA. You've been on that, Glenn.
Yeah, I have been, but it was so many years ago. I don't even remember who was president at that time.
You know, you were just talking about that taunting thing, and it's the same thing that you and I talked about the other night. I think Friday night when we were talking about, people wishing literally the most horrific comments I've ever seen, wishing for the president of the United States and his wife to die from COVID-19.
I saw a lot of comments that were truly ugly.
And I was like, do you not and we talked about it the other night. Like, that is like, it's energy. It's just like the taunting thing. If you're putting out that energy, it is going to come back to you. It is going to come
Could not agree more. And it has nothing to do with what team you play for.
None. Zero.
I just think it will never be in your favor to root for the ill of somebody else. I don't care who you are. Right. There's no way you're going to frame that to your advantage.
Totally agree with you.
And clearly anyone who operates that way knows exactly zero about karma. It's impossible to have any awareness whatsoever of what karma is and still behave that way. What is the old saying? I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
I can't think of an enemy.
in consciousness, you would not want to wish the person that you're not drawn to or whose opinions you disagree with or whatever. It's not in our best interest to wish anybody anything less than the best, because as we wish others, as we reap as we sow, I guess is what it comes down to, that old biblical truth. And so if what we sow is that we are rooting for the demise of another human being, then when it's our turn to be in the barrel of challenge of whatever ilk, whatever the challenge is, then karmically we have positioned ourselves to be the recipient of what I would label worst case scenario. Why? Because we were rooting against someone else when they were down.
Yep.
And how in the world, and again, this isn't about which side of the street you're on, but how in the world do people not get? I see so many people saying that, oh, karma got him, not realizing that celebrating someone else's bad karma is kind of the definition of bad karma.
Is karma.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so dazzlingly obvious that to celebrate someone else's bad karma is creating bad karma. It's just,
I think it's probably the coolest thing out of this whole show tonight is that statement, Scott. Couldn't agree with it more. It is impossible to prosper in life when at the core of our being we are rooting against others.
Amen.
It just doesn't work. And listen, this is not just a recent concept. I've been teaching this stuff for 36 years as an actor because, actors are by definition often very competitive, and they walk in and they think in terms of beating the competition. And what I coach is, the problem is in your head that you're regarding them as competition in the first place, because they're not your competition. I don't care if they're reading for the same role. There is nothing they can do to bring what you bring. There's nothing they can do to be who you are in the room. Therefore, there will be only the competition between you and your own capabilities. And that's really it. So if you want to start doing better as an actor, now granted, this teaching broadens itself out to be applicable in any area, any field of endeavor, but specifically I'm coaching as an acting coach, that you want to rock as an actor. Start wishing others well. And I do mean the people that are reading for the exact same role that you are. Wish them well. And in turn, don't be surprised when the floodgates of power and freedom and excellence and goodness and plugged inness and connectivity, all of those things flow with ease. Why? Because you were in a harmonious relationship with your fellow human beings. You weren't sitting there watching someone go into the room right before you going, I hope she trips on the furniture.
Right.
Or look at that guy and go, God, I hope he forgets his lines. This is a lot of dialogue. I'm sure glad I memorized it, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to choke on their lines today. And that'll be a good thing for me. If you're rooting for victory that comes as a result of the failure of others, that is just not an enviable place to be. That's all I can say about it. And I think you're going to uplift your own cause when you start cheering for your brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Randall Reeder, my friend, posted about the death of Jerry Litton. Thank you for remembering that, Randall. The guy was talking about that.
What was the post? Did we see it?
It's just click by. Jerry Litton was he was the congressman from kind of Chillicothe, Missouri, which is north and a little east of Kansas City. And so the Senate seat came up because the senator from Missouri, Stuart Symington, was retiring. But Stuart Symington Jr. was a congressman from St. Louis. And so everybody thought that Stuart Symington Jr. was the heir apparent to his dad's seat. And Litton started with about a 10% in the polls and Symington at 90%. And during the campaign, it completely, and it was neck and neck the night of the primary vote. So Litton votes, puts his wife and 2 kids in the private plane with the pilot, and they take off and the plane crashes and kills them all.
Oh.
And that night it was announced that Jerry Litton had won the primary. He won and never put died never knowing it. And he was just an amazing, amazing speaker and leader and everything. And it's so weird. Randall just posted, I didn't know how old he was.
What a story.
He said he was 39 or 40. And, you know, when you're 20, somebody 40 seems so much older and wiser and that, but then you get to be past 40 and all of a sudden 40 is pretty young.
Hey, Scott, can you read that comment? Can
the
you
ladder
put your
go ahead. Jay's posted here. The ladder of success are based on that exact karma. As you're climbing the ladder, learn from those above you, but never forget to turn around and help someone else up that ladder. It's so good.
I always heard it said that in the harbor of possibility, it is impossible to not elevate your own boat when filling the harbor for others.
Yeah.
So if you're pouring water into the harbor, it's not as though their boat uniquely rises. Everybody's boat rises.
Yes.
And it's Jim really true.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you going to say, Scott? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say Jim Rohn had this great thing. And he said, you know, there's two ways that you can have the tallest building in town. One is to get people together and to collaborate, as we're talking about, and all these different artisans and build the biggest building in town. The other way is to knock everybody else's building down.
Right.
But before too long, people will go, oh, there's a destroyer. No one will ever call you a builder. You will always be known as the destroyer.
You'll be branded that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And, no question that's true.
You
Thank you, Jim Rohn, for that.
Building down, and they're waiting on you. You know, and so be the builder. Yeah, there's John Pope. There's somebody. Yep, absolutely.
Could we illuminate Rini's comment, Ken? And will you read that one, brother?
Go for it.
Okay.
Or do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Just wrong. On Wednesday, neighbor jumped the cedar fence, thrashed my entire crop garden with a scythe, denuded. Am I saying that right? My entire autumn food crop, flowers too, so he could get some sun. Is this just wrong? My garden is to his north/west, not south or east. Now my view is the back of his greenhouse. Men, what would you do? I would call law enforcement.
He's trespassing, first of all.
It's destruction of private property. It's trespassing. It's all that. I would get the cops involved. That's what I would do.
I think that's a good call, because if you start taking matters into your own hands, that's going to get ugly real fast,
real bad. I saw something the other day on social media somewhere of these. It was a race, like a 100-meter dash or whatever it was. I don't remember, but the kid that was winning the race the entire time went the wrong way or something, and the guy that was in second place the entire time passed him and was coming up to the finish line, and he stopped and turned around and let the kid that had been in the lead the entire time, he let him win the race.
Wow.
And he said, I forget exactly how he said it, but he said, you know, he was ahead and a much better athlete than me the entire race, and he made a little tiny error at the end and went the wrong way, and I just didn't feel like he should be penalized for that, so I let him win.
That's good.
I thought that was
it's rare and it's beautiful.
It's very rare. Very, very rare.
I believe we spell that word, by the way, Scythe. Regarding the tool that was being used.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Isn't that the correct spelling of that?
Yes. And Anna is spot on. If he's crazy enough to do that, he's...
Yeah, no kidding. Is that like a sling blade?
It's the thing that's got the long curved blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
But it has a
that's
long handle because you hold this and then there's a handle farther down on the so you can.
isn't that what is from the movie Sling Blade? Some people call it a
I don't know.
I've been studying on it.
I'm pretty sure you're right there, Ken.
Can
I'm
I
pretty
tell
sure
you a
you're
bad
right.
story? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Never mind. There you go. Randall knows.
Hey, gentlemen, we're at 90 minutes.
Wow.
Man,
Time
we've had a
flies
lot
when
of
you're having
comments
fun.
tonight too. Thank you.
We have had
everybody.
a
This is
lot.
very cool.
We like our comments. We like our people.
Yeah.
So you want me to take us out?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Do it. I wish you gentlemen a marvelous week. I wish
Thank
everyone who's watching tonight an equally marvelous week. Do something extraordinary.
Let's
Do
take
something different this week. If you want a different outcome, if you want a better outcome, don't follow the standard template. Do something that's extraordinary this week and watch yourself light up your life.
Amen.
Can we take 30 seconds for shameless promotion? Ken, why don't you tell about your book? I'll tell about my program coming up.
Go ahead. I already
You
mentioned
wanna-
my book. I already mentioned it. You're up. Your turn.
Go to distinctionsummit.com. It is coming up not this coming Friday, but next Friday. And if you use the coupon code DISTINCT2020, it gets you $100 off your registration. Glenn is going to be making an appearance there. By the way, I'm getting the rundown sheet all put together, but Glenn is going to be making an appearance. Ken is going to be making an appearance. Sage Steele from ESPN. Larry Winget, Joe Calloway, Mark Sanborn, got some great folks. Jason Bradshaw, who's the chief customer officer of Volkswagen Australia. But the main thing is it's a roadmap of what do you need to do to stand out. You know what to do. It's how to make what you do stand out so you can earn more. So all the information is there. It's distinctionsummit.com. Really
That's going to be exciting.
What by the way, speaking of collaboration, thank you guys for being willing to join me for
Of course. What are the hours on those dates, Scott?
It's from we posted them on Eastern time. So Eastern time, well, Pacific time is going to be 11 until 1, and then from 2 until 4. So it's 6 hours a day.
Is that it right there?
Except on Sunday, and then Sunday's going to be shorter. So
does he have it scrolling across the screen correctly there? Well done, Ken.
That's quick. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we've had several folks sign up for it. Very, very excited. Had
Awesome. Very cool.
today. So
May your lives be rich with blessings, my dear friends, and may our president's health be restored swiftly.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Have an awesome week. We'll see you guys next Sunday.
thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you next week on the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.